Hello and welcome to the Hungaroring for the 11th round of Season 4 of the Old Guy Racing League, or OGRL, Coffee Cup Championship. My name is Edward Hunter. I'm not joined in the commentary box by Ewan O'Leary, as great as that would be, but equally brilliant alongside me is the wonderful Jim Cunningham, our broadcast director, who will be helping us keep abreast of all the action here at this 4.33 kilometer circuit. All 14 corners will be covered then. And interesting championship this is then. Let's bring in Jim then. Welcome to the Hungaroring. Infamously tricky track to overtake at, but the GT3s here in OGRL Coffee Cup have proven themselves very handy finding creative ways to get past one another.
Yeah, well, this is, this was a great series, and this track is, I don't know. I'm not a fan myself. I don't personally like driving this track, but it's kind of steeped in mystique. You know what I mean? Like it's a well-known, and people talk about this track a lot. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I guess I don't get around here that great, and if you don't go well someplace, you don't like to drive it. But yeah, I think it's going to breed some decent racing today. I'm excited to see what these guys do.
I hope you do better cam work than this guy, Jim. He's just waving it around. That's not even anywhere near pointed at the car.
I'm pretty sure that was me.
I was also a bit put off by the shot of turn one, where it had these guys all with like backward-facing baseball caps that look like they're like Bart Simpson or something.
That's the German thug guys, hanging out at the track, selling secret setups or something.
Well, they're certainly selling something then. As we look at Brian Faluna circulating with the Porsche with the big teeth at the front. Of course, the Porsche, infamously a slightly unpredictable car to drive at the best of times. Porsche always doing Porsche things, as James Parfitt loves to say. Now, as we see qualifying begin, might be a good time to update ourselves on what the championship standings are going into this penultimate round of the season. We still got one more at Sebring next week, I believe, which will be our finale.
So there's your
Here is the
points.
pro standings. Thank you very much, Jim. So we've got Ryan Merriam on top on 549 points. We can just see total PO. That's points, not not something else being said there. 549 points to Ryan Merriam's name. For Luna, who we're just watching on track now, on 537. So he has had a very strong season. There we go. We've centered it. And then we have got Probert, which of course is
Tim.
I think it was hit. Tim, isn't it? Yes, there we go. A British driver in third on 523 points. David Van Roy on 518 in fourth. Bradley Lovings in fifth on 512, just 6 points behind. Then it is Young, who is in sixth in the pro class. Behind Young is Cheney. Jeremy Cheney, of course, in seventh on 481 points, about 11 behind Young. We got Sierra in eighth on 556 points, so quite a distance behind. And then we got Sean Riley in ninth, Dion in 10th, and then the rest of our 15 field in pro rounded out by Andy Nichols, Horvatin, Dela Cruz, Bowen, and Atkinson. So not all of them, I think, here tonight, but hopefully we'll see as many of them as possible, and that fight at the front will be fascinating. Here's your Pro-Am standings. It is Dustin Dosvais, who leads on 445 points, a good 25 ahead of Bradley Tidwell. Adam Hansen is third, another 10 points further back. Then there's Claudio in fourth, Price in fifth, Bonte 6 points behind Price in sixth. So Price is fifth, Bonte sixth. And then I'm getting Price and Bryce mixed up. That's what's happening here. There we go. So Bryce is another 8 points further back. Then we got Hanelt in eighth, Bailey ninth. Dudkowski rounds out the top 10, followed by Hillerick, Adkins, Svorak, Modric, Zeiflo, Bakker, Acker, Modric, of the other Modric, of course. And then we've got Ruiz Padilla rounding out our 19 covers. So Modric and Ruiz Padilla yet to score so far this season. I don't think either of them are here tonight, so it's going to be difficult for them to
that last guy is Carlos Ruiz. He just races occasionally in this league.
Yeah, and finally, here's our AM field. We've got Ollinger leading on 353
He's not here and will not be here next week either. He's out of the country, I think, on business.
Oh, well, there we go then. So big opportunity for Jim Sawyer in second on 334 points. And he is 31 points ahead of Vesta, who is also here today, Michael Vesta in the Ford. Then we've got Marshall in fourth, some distance behind, 285 points. Gardner is fifth. Basile is sixth, equal on points with Rice. Then it is Scott Carlson in eighth. Hoskins is ninth. Marcinek is 10th. Champlin 11th. Castellane is 12th. Abbott is 13th. Matthews 14th. Takacs is 15th. And McFadden rounds out your 16-car AM field in that championship at the moment, as there is the Ford of Michael Vesta. Mustang just going back into the pit lane then. So it'd be interesting to see how all the times shake out. I'm looking at the timing screen. It's obviously showing class by class, so I can't... difficult to tell who's on overall pole. It is Brian Faluna, of course. There we go. So good news for him in his Pro Championship hopes ahead of Young, Merriam, and Van Roy. Kirali, that is somewhat unexpected. Hungarian leading the, is that the Pro-Ams in orange, ahead of Bradley Tidwell, and our championship leader, Dos Vase. And then in our AMs, we've got Gardner on top ahead of Sawyer, who's looking to overhaul that. Was it like a 30-point gap, 31-point gap, wasn't it, that he had to overcome?
That sounds right, yeah.
So Sawyer will need to just make sure he scores well and stays out of trouble, really, in these final two races if he wants to take that AM title, which it could well happen, but you never know. There's all sorts of pitfalls there. As we see, somebody spun it. It's Bradley Lovings.
That was Bradley Lovings, yeah. That was probably the end of his qualifying, too, because he had already put down one lap, so that should be everybody.
Should indeed, but yeah, Lovings 142.7 only good enough for fourth on the grid. So he has got the fearsome Ryan Merriam ahead of him, and David Renroy just as troublesome in the Acura right behind him. So this could be a really, really interesting start as we see all the backwards baseball cap crew trying to get a good view of the chaos that might be due to see in turn one, which is a great overtaking spot. You said earlier, Jim, this is not a circuit that you love, but I think there's a sort of unique challenge. There's a couple of tight corners that do present themselves as overtaking opportunities. Turn 1, 2, and 3, I think, are good examples of that. And then we got a sort of tight, twisty middle sector with a couple of fast corners in there that really challenge the car at sort of medium to high speed before the final sector sort of tightens up again.
Yeah, like I said, I don't, I'm just not comfortable here for some reason, but like I said, it's a popular track. But then I feel like there's enough people that love it and hate it. You know what I mean? Like you hear both. It's kind of one of those tracks. I think that maybe people are passionate about one way or the other, which is, in a way cool. I mean, it's, if you dislike it or like it, at least you have an opinion, you're not just kind of like, meh, whatever.
Yeah. And, of course, I think a lot of what I know this circuit, funnily, the first thing that springs to mind when I think of the Hungaroring is a couple of years ago, there was the Gran Turismo movie that was about Mardenborough, appropriately enough, a guy who started off in I guess, sim racing, in inverted commas, on Gran Turismo on the PlayStation, and then became, of course, a real-life racing driver off the back of that with the Nissan GT Academy. And in the movie, they used the Hungaroring to double for basically every other circuit, including Circuit de la Sarthe at Le Mans. And when you see the final sector being used for it, it's so funny because it looks nothing like any corner at Circuit de la Sarthe. And it's so funny. Yeah, they just did that to save money. Just do pretty much every race. Apart
I watched
that
movie not long ago, actually. All right.
Okay.
Oh, they're on warm up now, so they're out there. Yeah, so we'll get a look at these qualifying. We'll talk about the qualifying times when we go to grid up here. But it's funny. That movie was interesting. I did not realize it was the Hungaroring. Now it makes me want to go back and watch it just for that alone. But I think that I think we're going to get some good racing here from these guys. There's some really fast guys up towards the front of this field, Merriam and Faluna and, Bradley Lovings and David Van Roy and, Jim Sawyer's a really fast amateur. There's some quick guys out here. So it's going to be fun. Like I said, I raced in this series back when I joined this league when I first got on iRacing, and this was actually the league that led me, as I was telling you before we got on air, this was the league that led me to broadcasting. I started racing in this league and saw the fact that it was covered on YouTube, and I thought that was really cool, and that's how I decided to get into broadcasting. So,
well, it was also your son that thought it was really cool.
Yes, well, he did. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, he was so excited to know that you could race. That you could race on iRacing and be broadcast on YouTube. He was fascinated by that, so.
Yeah, and now it's a privilege that these guys all, was it 18 drivers that did qualifying there? It might have been just over 20, wasn't it?
I think it was just over 20, yeah.
Yeah, so now this is an honor that they will get to receive as well, thanks to your help, Jim. So I guess what comes around goes around. We have a comment in chat from Shannon Vester who says, "Let's go." And I assume Shannon Vester is related to Michael Vester in some way, or is potentially Michael's other half there. So,
well, that's a pretty wise deduction on your part.
It's one of the two. I mean, I don't want to commit either way in case I get it wrong. But
that's right.
I'm sure Shannon will immediately correct me in the next few minutes if I'm wrong, and maybe it's just a coincidental and it just happened to be cheering on Michael anyway.
Well, that would be even funnier if it just happened to have the same last name and they weren't connected at all. That would really be funny. This group has always typically had a big YouTube support. A lot of people commenting during the races and stuff. Some of the guys' wives, some of the guys' moms, In fact, we did. It was a combination of this and another league that we do on JPB, and we did a wives race, a wives and like mothers or whatever, like a females race from all the moms and wives and stuff. And oh my God, it was the best time I've ever had commentating a race in my life.
Yeah, I think James always talked about doing that.
Oh, yeah, it was so much fun. No, damage was off, and it was just, full on chaos. It was wonderful.
There we go. So
certainly,
I think some of them might actually put some of the some of our backmarkers to shame.
Look, no, there was some fast ladies in there for sure. Now there was, but then you had the ones that obviously don't do it, and just missing braking points and running over people. And, it was just so fun. Or coming around a turn too fast and running off through the grass, and it was great. I'm telling you, I've laughed so hard. My cheeks were sore from laughing so much during that race.
Oh, all right. I should probably go back and watch that one, as indeed should anybody else immediately after finishing this broadcast.
Yes, not before.
But yeah, there we go. There is Bradley Tidwell, who's just completed a warm-up lap, but the warm-up session about to end. There's really only enough time to get maybe 1 or 2 laps in maximum in the warm-up, so it's always just good for final checks before everybody grids up.
So apparently Shannon is the wife, not the mom or sister.
Yeah, I did think it would be the other half. There we go. So, there we go. Great clarification there from Shannon, who, of course, will be cheering Michael on as basically Jim Sawyer and Michael Vester are fighting for that AM championship, aren't they? Or just to beat the total of the guy that's not here. His name, I forget.
Heath Ollinger.
There we go. So here is the grid. Brian Faluna on pole position from Hayden Young. Ryan Merriam and Bradley Lovings make up the second row. Then it's David Van Roy, the first of our pro-ams. Pal Corrali at his home race in 6th. Bradley Tidwell 7th. Dustin Dos Vase championship leader in 8th. Jeremy Cheney will start 9th from Adam Hansen, rounding out the top 10. Will Bailey will be 11th ahead of Pernell Hanelt, who is 12th. In 13th position will be Tom Bryce. Then John Gardner lines up 14th at the back of the second row, leading our AMs from the pole position in that class. Jim Sawyer will start 15th with Michael Vester, his championship rival, alongside him. Nicholas Marshall will start 17th with Scott Carlson 18th. We have got Abbott, who I think is in the AM class, but it's not in orange for some reason. He is in 19th. Tim Probert down in 20th. Difficult qualifying for Tim, with Brian Hoskins 21st and last in the McLaren, so he'll have a lot of work to do, will Brian?
Let's see, I'll go in there and fix Abbott's thing. And are you the same guy that was reading the points earlier? Because you take away their first name and give you an initial, and you stumble over them like it's hurdles in the Special Olympics or something.
Well, I was trying to figure out what the first names were.
And then I give you the first names, and man, you're like a different person there. That was awesome.
Well, I needed practice. Anyway, no time for these guys to practice. Race is about to start then. Brian Faluna looking to lead away from Hayden Young alongside in the black and yellow Porsche. Here we go. Lights about to go out any second now. And we begin at the Hungaroring. Faluna goes back to the racing line. Bradley Lovings has picked off Ryan Merriam into turn 1, but Merriam fighting back. Round the outside goes Bradley Lovings, trying to get past the black and green Porsche. And has Bradley Lovings made it through? I don't think he has. I think Ryan Merriam has held on to that third place. And now David Van Roy in the Acura is fancying a go at Bradley Lovings as well as they go downhill into 3 and 4. Pal Corrali still leading in the Pro-Ams, and Jim Sawyer has got past John Gardner. Michael Vester has actually lost out to Tim Probert at the start. Great start for Probert as Gardner retakes. Look, you can see him going 3 wide in the background uphill towards turn 4 as Probert is fighting away with Gardner. And
Probert's in trouble. Yep.
He has. He's, I think, spun it briefly coming out of turn 3. There he is in the Send It livery.
There you go.
Up front, you can see Brian Faluna now starting to stretch his legs from Hayden Young. Ryan Merriam, Bradley Lovings, David Van Roy are top 5. Pal Corrali leads Bradley Tidwell by half a second. And then Jeremy Chaney's behind them. Will Bailey, Tom Bryce round out the top 10. Then it is John Gardner still leading Jim Sawyer and Michael Vesta in 13th, 14th, 15th in the battle for the AM lead there. As Nicholas Marshall is now passed by Tim Probert, who's making up ground again after that tricky turn 4. And Dos Face has made a terrible start as well. He's down 9 positions.
Yeah, we'll figure out what happened to him there. He's right behind Tim Probert here, who's trying to move his way back up through the field.
Vesta wide. Oh, and through goes Probert again.
Yep, no changes in the top 7 up there. They're all staying put, but a lot of action back here in the back part of the field.
Yeah, there was that brief challenge from Lovings on Merriam into turn 1, but other than that, not a huge amount of movement at the front of the pros. As you can see, for Luna, just looking more and more confident. He's at a 148.9 on his first flying lap there. Tim Probert gaining more positions. It looks like the AMs aren't fighting Tim particularly hard here because they're not really in the same race, so it kind of makes sense. Will Bailey has passed Tom Bryce for 3rd in the Pro-Ams just now in that Corvette, so good to see Tom Bryce slicing through the pack then as Will Bailey now actually reasserts that 9th position ahead of him. So Will Bailey not so easily overcome in that Ford. There is that battle, I think.
This is Parnell Hanlett here.
Hanlett going wide out of turn 5, and he's got Adam Hansen in the BMW very, very close as they go into the 6th and 7th chicane. But again, the BMW not quite close enough to mount an attack here. So interesting start here, and yeah, it's Tim Probert that's having all sorts of adventures up and down the pack. At the moment, he's right behind John Gardner. You can see just in the background. So Probert then desperately hoping he can catch the back of now the Pro-Ams and make his way through that field as well.
Well, Probert's passed about 20 cars already. He's
yeah, he's had to repass some of the same cars.
Yeah,
problem.
He was up seven or 8 spots, and then back down, and then back up again. Yeah, he's definitely been the one on the move, whether it be forward or
Bailey spun, and we were just talking about how well Will Bailey was doing, and coming into turn 13, he has absolutely looped it around there. I think I didn't see if there was contact with another car, but I think Will may well have lost it on his own, but he's dropped to 21st and last. Yes, there we go. So Will Bailey is right behind or ahead of Tom Bryce, isn't he, in the Corvette? And that's Hansen, I think, behind. Yeah, there we go. Bailey just completely got too early on the power there, and they're facing 180 degrees in the wrong direction. So
all right, let's see.
3 positions for everybody behind.
This is what happened to Dos Vase earlier in the race. I'm famous for my slow motion replays, by the way.
Nice run, by the way.
Yeah.
Dos Vase race. Okay, so so Dustin is in the middle, and he hits. Is that that's him being hit round?
Yeah,
sorry,
that was him in
and
the
a little bit of damage
car.
Potentially as well, as we see the Michael Vesta going around the outside of him as well. Tom Bryce is now fighting away with Tim Probert, who's trying to desperately pick off the rest of the Pro-Ams as quickly as possible. He's not far behind Jeremy Chaney now, is Tim. So Tim has got some really impressive pace here. He's gained 10 positions from where he started, and some of those he's had to do twice. As you say, it says send it on the side of that car. Well, he absolutely has been sending it, isn't he?
Seems like a good motto for him, yeah. He seems like he has been sending it here. He's got Parnell Hanlett in front of him, and then Jeremy Chaney right in front of that.
You wouldn't think Chaney would be in a hurry to let him through like some of the others have been.
No, probably not. They're in the same class, but you also don't want to draw other people up to you and make you have to fight with them. Sometimes if you just let the faster guy go, you can at least maintain your pace, and you know what I mean. But that would be the back end of the pro category. So yeah, he might not want to let him go there.
Yeah, Tom Bryce, by the way, holding up a train of Adam Hansen, John Gardner, and Jim Sawyer. So the AMs, the front of the AMs, and the battle for 3rd and 4th in sort of Pro-Ams is starting to tighten up a bit here. But yeah, Tom Bryce under real pressure from Adam Hansen in the same class as him. And that number 72 Corvette, he's going to have to drive it wide here. And the problem for Gardner now is that he's got these two fighting immediately in front of him, and that's allowing Jim Sawyer to join the pack. Michael Vester isn't too far behind either, so it could get very, very tasty at the front of AMS, which is not really what Sawyer and Vester really want. They just want to have a clean race where they can score as many points as possible. If they're backed into John Gardner, as we see Hansen having a little dive into turn 5, but that's a difficult corner to make the move on because it's such a long, constant radius on. There's only really one line through there, and Adam Hansen found it very much blocked there.
That's a good-looking BMW right there. I don't know, just that looks like
nice.
Looks like a professional, paint job.
Whoa! And is that Hanelt in trouble there?
Is it Parnell?
Going wide? It
Yep.
is Purnell, yes. And around the outside goes John Gardner. So Gardner now has got a car in between himself and Jim Sawyer, much to his relief, as we see Hansen contemplating a move into turn 12. But again, Tom Bryce covers that one off. Will Bailey, by the way, since spinning, has gotten up into 20th, but he's about 6 seconds behind Brian Hoskins at the moment there. But he is lapping in the 1:52, so quite difficult for him, I think, to recover from that spin. It would have put the tyres through a lot of energy and wear in that one moment, as well as now look at Hansen. That BMW's got decent grunt on it compared to the Corvette down the straights. So can he get close enough to mount a challenge into the first corner? No, again, Tom Bryce sort of just slowly shifts to the middle of the road and then to the racing line in the apex there. So at the moment, Adam Hansen's best chance is that he can put Tom Bryce under pressure and force him to make an error, as we see him again shifting to the inside, shuffling around, trying to force an opening rather than waiting patiently behind. He gets alongside around the outside into 3 and 4, but again, Tom Bryce very much sees it coming and doesn't panic under that amount of stress that he's being put under. So the Tom Bryce train is really starting to form behind him.
It really is, yeah. It's little action up here. Looks like David Van Roy is trying to close in and get by Bradley Lovings here. Bradley,
not far
Bradley
behind.
always has the most colorful cars. You know, he used to drive that really colorful Porsche. Now he's got this.
It was the Lego livery, wasn't it? As Hanelt has got a yellow flag next to his name, so that's a slowdown.
He's usually got some kind of like purple, pink kind of livery.
That's it. You're absolutely right there, Jim. I was getting mixed up with someone else. This is what happens when you don't commentate on the series. You commentate on 50 other series, and you don't commentate on this for
I did
a year or whatever.
56 races last month.
My goodness.
Yeah.
You put me to shame. But at any rate, for Pernell Hanelt, it's really not gone the plan, has it? Because not only do you have that big off-track moment where he lost a couple of positions, but he's also had a slowdown as well, which has dropped him off the back of Gardner and very much into the clutches of Jim Sawyer. As we continue to look at Bradley Lovings, Merriam has really just got the pace on him at the moment. Merriam is within about a second of Hayden Young.
Yeah,
so
they've
the
all
fight for
kind
second
of
might
spread
still
out
be
a
on.
little bit.
Yeah, definitely there's a sense that it was still quite early in the race. Everybody might be saving their tyres. Hungaroring is infamously quite a hard circuit on tyres, which often catches out everybody who comes to it, because you sort of think, oh, as long as I got track position here, I'll be fine. I can just run really long. But everyone's got to make a pit stop in this race, let's not forget. So it'll be interesting to see who decides to blink first and when they decide to go for it. If maybe there might be a couple pitting a bit later for fresher tyres, but they might get undercut by others that pit earlier as a consequence then. For Brian Faluna, he is managing it very, very well up front. 1:43.1 last lap of rounds. That was 4/10 quicker than Hayden Young behind him, who's nearly 2.5 seconds in the rear view mirror now. So Hayden Young is starting to worry about Merriam behind him rather than Faluna, who is disappearing off into the distance the way things are going at the moment.
Faluna's driving that Rexy, T-Rex Porsche Rexy. He apparently T-Rex may have short arms, but in this case he's got long legs, because Faluna sure is stretching them out there.
I love the arms as the door handles.
I know, right?
That's just an amazing little touch. I just love the little gold tooth in there. Maybe Brian puts in a gold tooth in there every time he gains a win. I don't know. It'd be nice. I think he ran out of teeth is the problem.
It's probably left over from when they raced at the Belle Isle in Detroit.
Yeah, very true. Anyway, the T-Rex marches
wrong.
on. No asteroids in sight then. So Brian for Luna, no danger of extinction. So, well, no, because it's a sim. They haven't put asteroids into iRacing yet.
No, not yet. No. Well, you haven't seen me drive, so there's that.
Oh well, yeah, that's very true.
I'm very much like a flaming asteroid coming through there sometime.
I don't doubt it. As we look at Ben Roy now.
You end up
get
like
the sense here that
Roman Grosjean.
Yeah, at a Spa in 2012,
yeah,
was
Spa,
it?
yeah. Wasn't it? No, it wasn't Spa, was it?
Alonso. It was Spa. He got banned. He got banned for a race because he took out Hamilton, Alonso.
No, I
and
was
both
talking
Saubers.
about. I was talking about when Grosjean had that horrible fiery crash.
Oh, the more famous Grosjean.
Yeah. Where he had that horrible fiery crash and looked like an
Bahrain,
asteroid.
yes.
Yeah, that was Bahrain. That's right. Oh, Nick Marshall had a little incident. Let's see.
I think Dos Vase was able to pass him there. So here's Nick Marshall in the Acura. Oh, gets too far over the curb at turn 4 and finds himself spun around. That's so easy to do because you get so destabilized when you go too far to the inside there. The curb can just sort of send you a little bit skywards. And Nick Marshall, lucky to only lose one position, but he's now lost about 7 or 8 seconds in that one moment alone.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but he also didn't tear the car up either. So that's, he had plenty of runoff area there and didn't knock down a wall while he was at it. So,
yeah, good news for Tim Probert fans because he's continued his rise up the order. He's just passed Jeremy Chaney there for 8th position. So now he's got to make up the 8.7 seconds to Bradley Tidwell and Paul Corrali, our 2 leaders in the Pro-Am class. We've not talked about too much about either of them, but Tidwell is really challenging Corrali at the present moment. And you can tell there's a little bit of a train forming behind Bradley Lovings. Ven Roy, about 7/10 behind, waiting for a good opportunity to find a way through. And Corrali and Tidwell are not far behind either with their own little personal battle, but it is becoming part of the Ven Roy Lovings battle as well. So Corrali may find himself sort of Malcolm in the middle, essentially, behind David Ven Roy, with Tidwell all over the back of him as well. So he might have to manage this one well. And in fact, even ahead of them, it's only 3 seconds really to between Bradley Lovings and Merriam and Young, who are still about 1.3 seconds apart. So Young has fought back last couple of laps. And speaking of fighting back, Will Bailey has just passed Scott Carlson to get back into 18th position. So after that big spin, it's good to see Bailey has got his lap times back into the 1:45.7s. And that is doing him a world of good, as him and Dos Vase are the 2 having to make their way up the order. For Dos Vase in the Pro-Am Championship, this race is really about damage limitation now, with Corrali looking to take maximum score. Yeah,
well, Corrali's, I'm not very familiar with him, but he was super fast last week, which was one of the, I think I've done 2 races now. This is my 3rd one this season, and he's been super fast. I'm not real familiar with him. Obviously, Bradley Tidwell has been around for a while, and that's not good.
Oh, what's happened here?
Tom Bryce.
Oh dear. So Bryce coming into turn 9, 10, 11. The rear just lets go on him. And finally, Hansen finds a way through. So I guess he did force Bryce into a mistake in the end, but quite a costly one for Tom Bryce, who now is in 16th position behind Dos Vase. So that's another position that Dustin doesn't have to fight to get away through.
Same spot right there for Carlson.
Oh, well, that explains why Carlson was passed so easily by Bailey and Hoskins then.
I wonder if, it's almost like somebody put some oil or some fluids down on the track there.
That's a couple of corners earlier, so it's not quite
was
the
it?
same
Oh, I
for
thought
Carlson.
It was the same one. Okay.
They do tend to look a bit the same with the Hungaroring. There's not a whole lot of distinguishing landmarks around here in terms of geography. As we cut back to Tidwell, who Corrali has actually pulled about a second on him. So he was within about half a second consistently last couple of laps. And now you can see the Hungarian at his home track, which I assume he knows pretty well. He is starting to stretch his legs ever so slightly and get that a little bit more comfortable, which is not what Bradley Tidwell would have been hoping to see in front of him then. So he's got to push to keep that BMW honest here in his Lamborghini. And it's interesting to see because, of course, we got Porsches in the top 3. But other than that, it's quite equal, I think, between our Lambos, our Acuras, our BMWs, and our McLarens, really. Tim Probert is probably one of the fastest drivers on track at the moment, one 1:43.8, other than our leaders, really.
Well,
he is the one that's really been setting the timing screen alight, and he keeps gaining time on Tidwell.
If we're being honest here, there's 4 Porsches in the field, and 3 of them are the top 3.
That's why I said outside of the Porsche. 'Cause I'm trying to make it seem open.
Yeah, no, it's open, all right. 4th on down is open. No, it's obviously these guys that are fast. They would be fast at anything you put them in, you know.
So I just remind myself of the championship between Dos Weiss and Tidwell in Pro-Am.
Yep.
Dos Weiss 499 points, Tidwell 477. So that is 22 points the gap then. So Tidwell, it's very important that he can somehow find a way through into that Pro-Am lead if he can at all.
What's Corrales' situation here? Is he?
He's quite a way down, isn't he?
Why do I not see him on the list at all?
Oh, okay. He might not be. Maybe he's only just stepped up to the Pro-Ams then.
Maybe.
Could be. Yeah, I don't see him anyway. So, was he taking part last week? It doesn't say anyway. I didn't see Corrales' name anyway. So, I did think it was odd that I don't remember saying his name in the standings. Maybe explains why I was struggling so much with reading them, because I was expecting to see Powell's
maybe
name.
I don't know. Maybe he joined too late to participate in the championship or something. I don't know.
Okay, then maybe Bradley Tidwell is actually in the well. He's still got to win to take maximum points, surely.
Tidwell needs to. Yeah, Tidwell needs points for sure. But yeah, you know, because we've only got this race and the next one left.
Yeah, 22 points. They're not going to fall into his lap. He's really got to fight for them. And Dos Weiss has fought his way up to 5th in class, essentially.
And I got a feeling by the time this thing's over, Dos Weiss was fast. You know, I mean, eventually he's going to get his spots back. Hamlet's already pitting.
Oh, interesting. So Hanelt, who was really struggling at this early phase of the race, he is our first leader to pit. Is Dos Weiss dived into the pits as well, who we were just talking about. So that does make sense. Both of them mired in the mid-pack, trying to get an undercut to gain track position here. Meanwhile, Bradley Tidwell is still within about 4/10 of Corrales, and Ben Roy similarly is caught back up to Lovings in the fight for 4th position, then right behind this Miriam Young battle we're looking at the moment, with Hayden Young setting personal best and pulling 3/10 clear of Ryan Merriam on that previous lap.
Well, I tell you what, if you look at the track map, there is a nice gap in there without many cars at all in it. And if you pit out, which it looks like they might pit out into that gap.
Yeah, there we go. So I think Hanelt and Dos Weiss leaving quite close together on the exit of the pits. There they are. You can see Dos Weiss in the Ferrari in the yellow and green, and Pernell Hanelt in the Acura, the purple Acura there that we saw having difficulties earlier on. The big OGRL livery on the side of the door, and you can tell Dos Weiss very, very keen, because these two are fighting in the same class as one another, essentially. So Dos Weiss is going to be very, very eager to clear him as soon as possible. If they fight with each other, the advantage of these fresh tyres might be reduced a little bit. So Dos Weiss, if he's smart, he might play this sensible there. As you can see, Scott Carlson getting a yellow flag and a slowdown next to his name, as I think Carlson is just going to move right out of the way. Oh, but he sort of is right on the apex. So Dos Weiss in particular gets a little bit delayed, but luckily he shouldn't lose too much out of all that. But yeah, tricky moment for Scott Carlson as he tried to just pick the earliest moment to get out of the way at the one of the tightest corners on the track.
Well, what's funny is there's no, you know, it's when you start to try to get out of the way, it almost never works out. And I say that from a position of empathy, because you know, I have done that so many times, and you end up putting yourself really in the way sometimes when you think you're trying to get out of the way. You know what I mean? It's just better if you just keep racing, do your thing, and let the faster car find their way around you. And of course, we hear that being preached constantly, but yeah, and I get it. It's so hard to do that in your head. You know, you just don't want to hold these people up or cause a problem, and inevitably you end up being more of a problem when you try to get out of the way. And trust me, again, that's only from experience do I know that.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to look at the gap between Hanelt, Dos Weiss, and am sort of it's really sort of Hansen that they're trying to fight with at the moment,
Yes.
I think. So yeah, Hansen is 35 seconds off the lead, and Hanelt is 1 minute 15 off the lead. So that is, and gaining actually. So the fresh tires are working well now that they have got that clear air, as you rightly pointed out, Jim. So Hanelt could be in for a bit of a launch up the order here, and Dos Vase will be looking to ride off the coattails here. But I wonder, when is Dustin going to get impatient and try and make the move on a Pernell here?
If I'm being honest, I think Dustin's being held up right now. He's clearly able to stay right on the back end of Parnell, and I think that if he gets by him, he'll pull away from him. It just appears to me that he's struggling to get around him, which is, again, this track is kind of notorious for that, tough to pass kind of place. But unfortunately for Dos Vase, pitting early and then being pinned behind a car in the same class is really going to hurt him, because he's going to lose all of that undercut value that he would have gained by getting out here and being able to run in free air, because he's not running in clean air. Oh, Parnell went high there. I think that's going to do it right there.
There we go. So Parnell still get a decent run onto the back straight.
He did.
And the Acura is going to be ahead as they cross the start-finish line. But there we go, forcing him to back off. Dos Vase reasserts himself into what is currently 17th position, but it could become something more. As there we go, laps on the board, 1:45.4 for Dos Vase. Whereas if you look at Adam Hansen, he's lapping the 1:44.6. So that's how much time Dos Vase was losing there, stuck behind. We also see that Brian Hoskins has come into the pits as well. So he emerges at the very back of the field. But Hoskins still will press on and try and get his way up the order as we cut back to Bradley Lovings under pressure from David Van Roy. So we saw one Acura pass moments ago. Can David Van Roy and the leading Acura make any impression on Lovings in front of him here? And you sense really David Van Roy would love a chance to challenge Ryan Merriam for that final podium spot. But being stuck behind Lovings is very much compromising him at the moment. And that's all dates back to qualifying, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think this is the same situation. I think David Van Roy is probably faster than Lovings right now, but he's not fast enough to clear him. These cars are too equal, and Bradley's a good driver. If he's a tenth or two slower than Van Roy around this track, that's hard for Van Roy to make a pass when they're that close, and
Van Roy getting a warning there. Look,
did he? Oh, he got to slow down. But he's in this track is not too. See, he was able to clear it without even losing any ground there. That's the beautiful part about the tracks that have a lot of these slower type turns. You can clear the trouble like that without actually losing spots, which is nice. Whereas you do it at like a Silverstone or a Spa, you catch one at the wrong time at Spa and you're just dead because you got to slow up on the straightaways,
Yeah, Spa can be absolutely brutal for slowdowns, and it has influenced many a race there in OGRL over the years. So interesting to look at the pace of Tim Probert here. He's matching the lap times of Lovings and Van Roy, but he sort of stayed about 6.5 seconds behind. You could just see him at sort of in the distance, desperately trying to close in on them. So Probert has sort of hit, while he was making up so much ground early on, he sort of hit the ceiling of roughly where he would have been had he not had that drama on the first lap into turn 4, isn't he? So
yeah, I think that's probably the case. Yeah, I think he's in it because he's clearly in open, fresh, free air here, so he should be able to turn, his best lap time, so to speak. So yeah, I think you're right. He is kind of probably slotted in where he belongs with his pace.
And Dos Vase, by the way, set a 1:44.7, his own personal best lap of the race. And he's starting to really clear Pernell Hanelt, who's 1.6 seconds in the rearview mirror then. So Dos Vase is he's about 15.8 seconds behind Will Bailey at the moment. But Bailey and Bryce, with their mistakes, when they pit, they should easily come out behind Dustin here. So, as I said, the real battle is going to be with Hansen, who is about another 5 seconds sort of up the road, essentially, from Dos Vase in front of Bailey and Bryce there. So, for always, we see even wider from, is that number 11, which is that Hanelt?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's Hanelt.
And that's exactly where he went wide a few laps ago when fighting with Dustin.
Yeah, we thought that was more of a trying to make a move there, especially when he got that nice run out of the corner there. But apparently maybe that's his line, maybe he likes that line way out there wide like that.
Nicholas Marshall coming into the pits now as well. And was that Hoskins coming in again?
Yes, Hoskins is in again.
So something went wrong in the first pit stop, I would suggest there. As we see, the weather has transitioned into being overcast then as we get towards half distance here.
We didn't have a chance for rain, did we? Oh, we did.
Not that I noticed.
Oh, yeah. Is it 39%? James has got this graphic so small I can't see with my bad eyes.
You're absolutely right. 39. Is that 39?
Is it 39 or 59?
I think it's 59.
We might see some rain.
That's quite a significant chance, so no wonder only a couple of drivers who were struggling have decided to pit for fresh tyres then, because everybody else is holding out for the rain and doesn't want to have to make the extra stop. And it's interesting, because Hungaroring is one of those sort of ones where it's kind of, the pit stop isn't that long, but getting stuck behind other cars can cost you a lot of time.
Well, I think it really, really messed up Dustin Ospace with his, just being able to take advantage of his undercut in that clean air he got, because for so many laps there, it was 3 or 4 laps at least that he stayed behind Parnell, and I think that hurt his time a little bit overall. But let's see what we got going on.
144.6 again for Dustin Dosweiss.
Heath Ollinger,
second faster.
Heath Ollinger's in. Heath Ollinger jumped into chat with us there.
Oh, okay. Let's hear what Heath has to say.
Oh, he's at Hockenheim this weekend at the GT3
in
race.
Real life. DTM GT3 racing, of course. The German touring car series, the Deutsche Tourmasterwagens in action there. There we go. I got a D in GCC Spanish. I didn't do very well in German either, but that's cool. But yeah, great to hear from Heath, who's watching some real life racing in Germany at the moment near the historic city of Heidelberg, which is where Hockenheim is situated. Old test track for Mercedes-Benz, of course. John Gardner, our sole Mercedes in this race, still leading the AM class at the moment by 3.2 seconds over Jim Sawyer, with Michael Vesser another 2.6 seconds in arrears. So they're all pretty close together, and they're lapping about the same time, with Vesta, it must be said, actually slightly faster last time around, 1:46.1, about 0.3 quicker than Sawyer, and a fair bit quicker than John Gardner. So Gardner will be starting to feel the pressure then as this one goes on, as we look at Ryan Merriam, very much on his own. The same cannot be said for Bradley Lovings, who's consistently had to fend off Van Roy throughout this entire stint. For nearly half an hour now.
Which, again, the fact that he can't pull away from Van Roy tells me that he is, to some degree, holding him up. You know what I mean? But again, that's racing. You got to get by the guy. So, Bradley's doing a good job of holding on to fourth position there.
Indeed, he is. And even if you haven't got the pace, if you can just drive defensively and sort of anticipate what the car behind is going to do, you've also got to make sure you nail the strategy here, because Van Roy will be very, very keen to try and use a pit stop to jump Bradley Lovings at the best available opportunity here. And you can see on this lap, Lovings gets a decent exit, launches out the final corner, and Van Roy loses just a little bit of ground. He's not really close enough to make a risky dive here. Of course, all these drivers holding out for the rain. If it doesn't come, then they may have to make their one and only stops for another set of dry tyres very late on. And that could really be to the benefit of the likes of Dos Weiss as well, who laps in the 1:44.5s now. He's shaved another 10th off of his best lap. And he just keeps closing on Will Bailey and Tom Bryce every lap. Bryce, though, is catching up to the back of Michael Vesta now, which is interesting times there. So Vesta, who was trying to keep Sawyer in sight in his championship battle, now may have to see track position to one of the Pro-Ams in the Corvette of Bryce. There's actually Bradley Lovings does not get a great run through 4 and 5. And Van Roy, nearly hits the back and dies at the inside into the 6-7 chicane.
Wow.
And Van Roy is through into 4th position there. And Bradley Lovings One small mistake opened the opportunity there, so great opportunism from Van Roy. There was one chance, and he absolutely had to go for that.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's look at it from up in the air here and see how that went down.
Oh, I thought he was going to hit straight into the back of him.
Well,
there.
you know, I don't
think
he intended to dive bomb him there. I think he missed his breaking point, and he had no choice but to dive bomb him or hit him in the rear end. That's what it looked like to me.
Lovings did pretty well to leave enough space for him there.
The thing was, Lovings was going to turn in, and then all of a sudden he saw that that David was there. If you watch, though, it looks like David just missed his braking marker and was about to hit him.
Yeah, he breaks so much later. So Lovings, I think, had been a bit caught out by the bad run he'd gotten out of the previous corner. Or sometimes that happens where you sort of have these breaking points you memorize, and if you don't nail the corner before, so your momentum is a lot slower, you're braking at the same point, but because you're going a lot slower, you're braking way too early all of a sudden.
Right, and that's very true. And that could have very, you just get out of your rhythm. You miss one corner a little bit, and then you get out of your rhythm, and next thing you know, you're struggling into the next corner. And that could have been it. He could have just gotten into that next corner a little bit slow, and Van Roy was sending it flying on up in there, and had no choice but to do an evasive maneuver.
Yeah, there goes Tom Bryce clearing Michael Vesta as he tries now to clear the Pro-Am leaders. He's got Sawyer about 3 seconds up the road, and then Gardner almost 4 seconds up the road from Jim. So that's the cars he's got to clear before he can then focus on closing the 11 seconds to Adam Hansen. So Bryce is really still feeling the pain of that spin earlier on as we see another slowdown for Scott Carlson, whose difficult day continues as Will Bailey dives into the pits in his Mustang.
Yeah, they're starting to pit now a little bit. I think... well, let's see. We're approaching just past
Bailey.
Past the halfway
where's Bailey come out? He's come out ahead of Hanelt, interestingly. So Dos Weiss getting past Pernell is absolutely crucial. Bailey is now 12 seconds behind the Ferrari and only about a second and a half ahead of Pernell.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's some solid strategy from Will Bailey, and he's at least got some clear air in front of him in which he can now start to set competitive lap times. As we see, is that Jeremy Chaney that has lost a position to Adam Hansen in the battle over 9th. So not sure quite what happened there.
Well,
Adam Hansen will certainly not complain.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think Chaney's made a mistake or something.
Let's see.
Bradley Lovings, by the way, still within about 2/10 of David Van Roy, so he's not taking that overtake sitting down.
Yeah, no, that goes to show you that I was wrong. That it was just it just goes to show you that they're equally matched, and it's just tough to pass here. Let's go back and look at that Adam Hansen, Jeremy Chaney thing and see if Chaney did make a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, a little bit too wide. And there we go, out of turn 10, 11. And the way very much clear for Hansen to just dive up the inside then. As Lovings versus Van Roy, still the closest direct fight on track. But we've got to keep an eye
pretty much
on
the whole race.
Stop. That's true. Dos Weiss, though, I think, will be interesting to see where he filters out, because he's now, as he passes Michael Vesta, interestingly, because Vesta's gone into the pits. So he's the first of our AMs, other than Carlson and Marshall. He's the first of our AM leaders, I should say, to really take the plunge into the pits. But Dos Weiss continues to lap personal bests in the 1:44.4s. And, he is really starting to get into the pit window of some of the Pro-Ams in front of him. He's about 1 minute 25 seconds off the lead. Look at Adam Hansen, 48 seconds off the lead. So Dos Weiss, he may not be gaining on Hansen significant amounts, but a couple of tenths each lap, it all adds up.
Oh, quickly, yeah. Tenths.
Tidwell is now in the Pro-Am lead because Pal Corrali has decided it's time for him to pit as well. So everybody is realizing it's probably not going to rain and deciding that the safe option is to get the pit stop out of the way now and not lose track position to the people undercutting.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Well, it turns out that's really an undercut for him, even though he was running in second place and still is.
Well, he's sort of running he was running in the Pro-Am lead, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so I think Marshall is also in the pits again, so something's gone wrong there.
Yeah, he's struggling, unfortunately, a little bit. I'm wondering if let's see, where did he pop out at now? Let's see.
Oh, and John Gardner is in the pit, so it'd be fascinating to see if Michael Vesta can get an undercut and close on the back of Gardner. That could be really, really key to their races. Jim Sawyer decides to stay out another lap, though. So, yeah, the AM battle, that freeway fight, is very much continuing at a pace as we look at Pal Corrali, who's come out just behind Adam Hansen, but ahead of Jeremy Cheney. So, Cheney's mistake has opened up a lovely little gap for Corrali to emerge into.
Yeah, well, and Hansen and Tidwell have not pitted, and Corrali
I'll tell you who has. Hayden Young from second overall has just gone into the pits.
Oh, he sure is.
Look at the gravel on the outside of the 6-7 chicane.
I have to say, I think that the debris that they've added in iRacing this season, overall, I think iRacing has done a lot of good things in the past year with their upgrades and stuff. Their new UI, I know people are, everybody's used to the old stuff, and it's going to take them a while or whatever. But I think for the long run, it's a good upgrade, and I think the way that you can edit things now, like your in-car stuff, is so much easier. And I think in the long run, they're going to be able to add stuff to it a lot easier with this new system. So that's going to be great.
There we go. Adam Hansen now goes into the pits right as Hayden Young emerges just ahead of him anyway. So Young has now got 7-second gap in front of him to Tim Probert, in which he can try and undercut Brian Faluna here. So this is where Faluna, he was about 4, 5, 6 seconds ahead, wasn't he, before the pit stop? So his pace was looking very, very good. Will there be a temptation to pit a bit earlier than maybe Brian Faluna originally wanted, just to cover off the threat from Hayden Young here?
Yeah, maybe. I can certainly see him factoring that in. But I tell you, Ryan Merriam is flying, man. He just ran a 43.8. Is that right?
That's true. Van Roy behind instead of 43.7 though. So yeah, him, Van Roy and Lovings all setting similar lap times. Faluna, as expected, dives into the pit lane. You can see the wall, but not the pit lane itself from this angle. But there we go. We should see him emerge just a few seconds. There's more of the lovely wall, and behind it is our race leader, Brian Faluna. Merriam is following him in, as indeed is Loving. So David Van Roy now should assume the lead.
Yeah, I got to think he's going to pit on the next lap, though. You would think everybody else around him is pitted. This could be a bad situation for him.
True, but
he
if
is
you're
wide
Van
open.
Roy and you want to try and fight for victory rather than settling in for, he might catch Ryan Merriam for third, your best chance is to hope that it rains in these final 20 minutes or so. We also see Tim Probert continuing on, as well as Brian Faluna emerges 2 seconds behind him in third. Hayden Young 4 seconds back now, so he has gained a little bit. He's gained about 2 seconds, I think, roughly, as Ryan Merriam is in turn about 2 seconds behind Hayden Young. So it's all closely poised at the front of the pack. Then as we see a few more pit stops being completed, Bradley Tidwell, by the way, has undercut his way past Pal Corrali in the Pro-Am lead, and that's very good news for Tidwell, who's second in the championship in his quest to overtake Dustin Dos Weiss. And Dos Weiss has actually emerged behind Adam Hansen as well. So Dos Weiss is up to 4th in class, but he's still got some work to do if he wants to finish on the overall podium and really limit the damage.
Well, and to be fair, his tires are older than everybody else's too, so that's going to end up hurting him in the long run.
He's 15 seconds ahead of Tom Bryce, though, so Bryce at least is going to have to drive very, very quick lap times to challenge Dustin here, as we now see, is that a little tiny black flag next to Probert's name? Not sure what that means.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a drive-through penalty or a pit road violation. He has not pitted, so the only thing, if he has not pitted, the only thing he would have a black flag for on the track would be an incident limit.
Oh, okay. That is interesting. But yeah, in comes Tim Probert then. So this potentially, after a difficult start to the race and brilliantly fighting his way through the pack, he might now.
If he's serving this, he's going to drive straight through.
Yeah. Oh no, he's not serving it. So he might have to pit again immediately after this.
Unless
Brian
it's some kind of
retakes
stop
the
and
lead.
go.
Look at Faluna, by the way. He is actually already starting to pull back away from Hayden Young. No, Hayden Young 3.9 seconds behind, so the gap is about what it was when they re-emerged from the pits. Then Van Roy emerges in full big smoke out the back of Tim Probert's McLaren 720S. Re-emerges then right behind Bradley Tidwell and Pal Corrali, who are just 0.6 apart from each other. So Corrali pitting a bit later in the BMW. He thinks having the fresher tyres at this point is going to be key to getting past Bradley Tidwell back into the lead of this race in the Pro-Am class.
Yeah, it's they are this battle right here is pretty good. I'm still trying to figure out. It has to be incident limit for Probert. It has to be.
The other thing that's happening here is Jim Sawyer and Jeremy Cheney are in the pit, so Sawyer is pitting from the AM lead, which is almost certainly going to hand it back to John Gardner, unless Sawyer's lap times have been super strong here. It looks like Gardner in the 147s. Michael Vesta actually pit and came out behind Will Bailey, Pernell Hanelt, and Tom Bryce, which is very bad news for him. As we see, there is Jim Sawyer. Oh, he's actually going to be a couple of seconds ahead of John Gardner. So there we go. Jim Sawyer, by staying out of trouble, out of traffic, has actually been able to sneak his way into the AM lead. Oh, what's happened? Somebody stopped at the exit of 3.
Ryan Merriam.
Oh, so Merriam running in third, coming into turn 11. Oh, the Riz has gotten away from him in that Porsche, and that's allowed David Van Roy to close within about 2 or 3 seconds now.
Yeah, I don't think this is it.
Oh, there he is. Van Roy slowing right down, interestingly.
I don't think this is over. Maybe it is, huh?
I think it is at the moment, because at the moment, David Van Roy is about 3 seconds behind Ryan Merriam. Yeah, so unless Van Roy has done something really silly. We did see somebody slowing down in the first sector here.
That's him slowing down.
That's Hoskins, isn't it?
No, that's... Oh, it is Hoskins. You're right. It sure is Hoskins. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, might be having some sort of issue there that he's having to service. There's Faluna.
Yeah,
and there's Pal Corrali, who is right behind Bradley Tidwell at the moment.
Closing up on him, isn't he?
Are we still in replay, by the way?
Oh, we are, actually.
Yeah, oh, and John Gardner.
That was very subtle. Thank you for that reminder, subtly.
Sorry, I couldn't think of a more elegant way to do that.
Let me go back to live footage here. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, well. Anyway, John Gardner has actually, not only has he seen Jim Sawyer overcut him essentially and come out into the race lead, but Will Bailey now has just got past him as well, as we look at Jim Sawyer, our new AM class race leader in the McLaren then. So Sawyer, this is very, very good news for his title hopes, isn't it? With what his championship leader out of the picture at the moment, these final 2 races, and he's got Gardner in between himself and Vesta as well. So this is looking very, very strong for him. Not only Gardner, but also Hanelt and Bryce in the way as well.
Yeah, he's got a nice gap there behind him to keep him safe. And he's got one car in between him and Sawyer, but I mean Sawyer and Gardner, but it's a pretty big distance there.
11 minutes to go then. We're on lap 26 of the 11th round of the season in Hungary then, and Brian Faluna continues to lead by 4 seconds then. We think the whole field has made their stops at this point.
Looks like it, yeah. Why don't we do a little run down the field real quick and just kind of talk about where everybody's at and kind of summarize a little bit before we get into these last few minutes.
Absolutely, let's go for it then. So there is Brian Faluna, led from pole position, covered off Hayden Young at the pit stop. He's now 4 seconds ahead and starting to build that gap again, 3/10 quicker the previous lap. Hayden Young, though, has driven well, tried to get the undercut. He is in second position in the number 46 Porsche and has kept it very, very clean. Has kept Brian Faluna very, very honest here. In third position is Ryan Merriam. Despite that spin, he is only 10 seconds behind and 3 seconds ahead of David Van Roy. So Merriam has held on to third for pretty much the entire race. Van Roy, though, has passed Bradley Lovings in probably the furthest move up the field that we've seen today. Van Roy making that dive at the inside of the chicane on Bradley Lovings, but Lovings has not given him a moment's rest since, as these two rivals are completely inseparable. So David Van Roy is going to be seeing pink and blue in the rearview mirror for quite some time to come, it seems. Then outside of our top 5 in the Pro-Am lead, Bradley Tidwell undercut by pitting 2 laps earlier than Pal Corrali. He leads him by just under a second. 7/10 is the current gap then. In 8th position is Tim Probert. We think did get a penalty for some sort of infraction on track or some incident limit that may have been reached. He's about 15 seconds behind that 6th place battle between the Pro-Am leaders, but he of course is in the Pro class. He's looking to get a 6th in class to his name here after a tricky start to the race. Sawyer gets a slowdown in the AM lead. That's not good news for him. But yeah, anyway, in 9th position we have Adam Hansen, who's had a very, very tidy race to 3rd in class, but he's got Dustin Dosveis closing down on him by about half a second per lap here. So Dosveis has not given up on his podium aspirations after being spun around at the first corner of the race. The number 27 is very much on his heels to try and look for a way through onto the podium. Then in 11th position we have got Jeremy Cheney, who's about 9 seconds in arrears. Lovely livery with a big mosquito on the side. Yeah, exactly. What's it say at the back there? Messenger Racing? I think so. Aeronaut Racing is the name of his team, though, isn't it?
Yes,
so,
it is.
It's a bit confusing.
Let's see here.
So Jeremy Cheney is in 5th in the Pro-Am class, I think. Then he's just behind him by about 12 seconds is Jim Sawyer, our AM leader, who pit late and everything. Yeah, it's Mirasoska Racing Team. So I don't know where Messenger Racing Team came from. I guess I was trying to read it really quickly. It's difficult to look at moving text, isn't it? Especially when it's only viewable from the rear.
It is indeed.
So then Jim Sawyer leads in the McLaren, having done a brilliant strategy play to stay out a few laps longer. He's got Will Bailey closing in on, but Bailey not in the same class. And then another 2 seconds down is John Gardner. Gardner on the fresher tyres, I think. Oh, no, would he be? No, he'd be on the older tyres, wouldn't he? But he is... he has actually been closing on Jim Sawyer. 1:46.2 last lap, nearly a whole second quicker than Jim Sawyer, who had that slowdown, of course, the previous lap. So Sawyer is not out of the woods yet. If Bailey gets through really quickly here, then Gardner might have a shot at trying to retake the class lead. Pernell Hanelt is in 15th position, right behind John Gardner. So that's even more bad news for John, who, having seen Bailey fly past him, now might have to witness Pernell Hanelt doing the same thing. Hanelt, another of those drivers to pit really early to try and get the undercut. Tom Bryce, after an early spin, is down to 16th, about 4 seconds in arrears. Then Michael Vester, who pit basically into traffic, got massively undercut and is now down to 3rd. He was 3rd before, so he's not lost a position in class, but he has lost a few track positions to the Pro-Ams as well. Then, last couple positions, we've got Scott Carlson, who is our last driver on the lead lap in his Acura. And then behind him, we have Nicholas Marshall, still going, also a lap down in 19th. And then I think we've got out of the race Abbott and Brian Hoskins as well, who of course stopped mysteriously at turn 3 with a as yet undiagnosed issue. So hopefully we do find out what happened there as we cut back to the 4th place battle between Van Roy and Lovings. Bradley Lovings has got something on his mind. It seems to be revenge.
Well, I tell you what, I sure misread that. I thought that Van Roy was quicker than him and that he was going to pull away from him, and I couldn't have been any more wrong. Those two have been glued together the entire race so far, which from their perspective, they're having a heck of a battle. You know, I mean, good fun, man. That's the kind of racing you like to have, you know, where you're bumper to bumper with a guy the whole race like that. So they're out there having a good old time right now.
Yeah, and I wonder if Merriam is starting to struggle a little bit with how worn his tyres are after that little half spin he put them through, because he was lapping about the same times, and now he's lapping about 3 or 4 tenths slower per lap than both Van Roy and Lovings. So this could be tricky times there. Lovings, of course, getting a great toe down the straight behind Van Roy, but struggling to find a way back through. He's in the exact situation that Van Roy found himself in some laps ago in the sort of first half of the race, essentially. But with Ryan Merriam almost within touching distance, it makes this battle, it adds a little bit of a interesting element here as Will Bailey passes Jim Sawyer, and that will be very heartwarming for John Gardner now, who sets a personal best lap of the race as we look at Sawyer now under pressure because Gardner in that Mercedes is catching him again here. And what can Jim Sawyer do? Because Gardner's got the pace on him, as he has had the whole race. Jim Sawyer with some good strategy, but now finding himself with the the job of a lifetime to really hold
I'll
on to
tell
that
you,
lead.
with 5 minutes to go in this race, we're starting to see a couple little battles form up here. This Gardner Sawyer battle for first place in the AMs, we got that's heating up. Tidwell and Pal Corrali is heating up for first and second in the Pro AMs, and then obviously you've got Bradley,
Merriam, Ben Roy, and Lovings, yes.
Well, what has happened to?
I think Bradley got a slowdown the previous lap, so that's why he's dropped about a second off.
Okay, all right.
He's right behind Ben Roy. So yeah, look at them crossing the line. Yeah, there, Ben Roy 143.8, whereas Bradley Loving's 144.4. But Ryan Merriam is set the exact same time as Bradley
They're
Loving's
not really,
almost.
I was going to say, they're not really closing that gap down on Merriam at this point. It's still about 2.5
Ben Roy
seconds.
is. Ben Roy is about 6 tenths quicker.
No. Well, they were a few laps ago too, but I'm just the last half of this lap. I've been watching Merriam's time, and he's been about 2.5 seconds faster, or 2.5 seconds ahead. And he's staying there. With 5 minutes to go, 2.5 seconds can be a lot to make up, short of somebody making a mistake.
Yeah, it looks like the overcast conditions are starting to clear up again.
They are.
As
So much for the rain.
Yeah, Bradley Lovings is closed back to within 7 tenths of Ben Roy, as you can see on screen, but Corrali is very close to the back of Tidwell now, and Bradley Tidwell lapping the 145.2s, and Corrali about 4 tenths quicker. Is that going to be enough for the BMW to find a way through here? Corrali has driven a very, very strong race, but Tidwell with that undercut has taken the fight to him, and this has got big implications in that Pro-Am Championship with Adam Hansen also still holding off Dustin Doisvais as, Jeremy Chaney has hit trouble then, and is dropping down the order to 15th
He's
overall.
in the pits.
There we go. He's had to make another stop then in the Porsche.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if something. Oh, he went off track.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Let's see what happened to him. Yeah, I think he might have had a little incident here.
Oh, and Bradley Lovings looked like he was just going into the pit lanes. Oh, it's off at turn 4 for poor Jeremy Chaney, and he's just avoided.
Bradley Lovings did pit. What in the world?
Yeah, there we go. I think he had a some sort of infraction.
Oh, he's got a black flag incident. Yep.
So
I'll tell you, this track is that's something we didn't talk about, and we should have mentioned that. This track is famous for its track limits too, and clearly it's starting to bite a few guys. Yeah, that's brutal for Bradley Lovings, man. He was up there in strong fight for 4th place, and overall 4th. Now he's 7th overall, and
it must have been into turn 4 that this happened then. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, okay, neat and tidy so far.
Yeah,
Maybe later in the lap.
No,
and Ben Roy has passed Ryan Merriam while we've been watching this.
Did he?
So Ben Roy up to 3rd. So not only is Bradley Lovings now down to 7th, but Ben Roy.
Merriam had an incident.
Oh dear. So Ryan Merriam was still holding on to 3rd. Was running about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of David Van Roy into turn 4, and again the rear end just snaps on him. It's the Porsche doing Porsche things, and a grateful David Van Roy gets the Acura onto the overall podium, and Ryan Merriam will be kicking himself after making 2 unforced errors there as Dos Weiss clears Adam Hansen for 3rd in Pro-Ams, and that is absolutely crucial. Here we go. Hansen had been holding on well in the BMW, goes a little wide into turn 2, and now into 3. Oh, he's disappeared completely. Okay. Behind something happened in the tree line. Did Adam Hansen spin?
He did. Yeah, he did.
On the exit of turn 2 there into 3.
He did. Let's change the camera angle on this and get a different look at it here.
Interesting then.
Oh, yeah. Stepped it out.
Yeah, no contact from behind. That was, unfortunately, Adam Hansen losing it on his own. John Gardner, always all over the back of Jim Sawyer for the AM lead. And we've also got Bradley Tidwell, Pal Corrali, Bradley Lovings all fighting over 5th place. And, of course, Tidwell and Corrali over the Pro-Am lead. As this is... well, let's see if we can go back to live footage then soon. But this looks like how... Oh, Jim Sawyer falling down to 14th position then. So John Gardner is up to 12th and into the AM leaders. It's all fallen apart for Jim Sawyer right at the end. Look, he spun coming out the 6-7 chicane. And that is cruel, cruel luck for the man who was leading in class until a few short moments ago. Here we go, over the curb. Oh, and the McLaren just lights up his rear tyres and hits the wall.
it's happening in every one of these battles so far that we're having.
Yeah, they've right to the end. I think we are on the final lap now because the clock has gone over 55 minutes. So Faluna is on his way to what will be a fabulous victory. There he is, coming out into the final couple of corners now. Well, he started on pole position. He's led almost every lap of the race. I think he has led every lap. So what a brilliant victory at the Hungaroring. Brian Faluna stomps the field. He flashes the lights in celebration. The dinosaur has done it. Brian Faluna wins round 11 of the OGRL Coffee Cup at the Hungaroring in superb style. Somebody is spun coming into the penultimate corner there. I think Gardner's actually got a slowdown on this last lap, but he is still ahead of Vesta, who is now going to finish in P2 in the AM class. As there we go. Was it Jim Sawyer hitting more trouble?
Yeah. Yep.
So with the damage sustained earlier, again, he just has another clumsy spin coming out of turn 13 there and gets it almost stuck in the wall. So luckily avoided by everybody. But there we go. Gardner.
Parnell Hanlon's got a black flag. Carlson's got a black flag. This is on the last lap. So if they can't serve them, that's a 40-second time penalty added that will drop them down.
Yeah, tough days for both of them, it must be said, especially Carlson. But yeah, even Hanelt have been looking to at least get a decent finish out of today in the Pro-Ams, but not to be, sadly, for him. Meanwhile, we didn't talk about Bradley Tidwell. Man second in the points, taking victory and taking a good hole of points out of Dustin Doisvase, who nonetheless did finish third, with Pau Corrali just 6/10 behind at the checkered flag. And Bradley Lovings, after his own black flag infringement, being 3/10 behind Pau Corrali. So a very close finish between those three. As here comes John Gardner. He had to do the extra lap, but what a brilliant performance from Gardner. He may not quite be right in the thick of the title fight, but he has put in a superb performance today in that Mercedes. He took the lead late on, and he wins in the AM class ahead of Michael Vesta and Jim Sawyer.
Yep. Yeah, that was... So it looks like Carlson tried to serve the penalty. It's all going to depend on where his pit spot will, or how that's going to work out.
And Hanelt as well.
Parnell didn't go into pit, so Carlson did, but it didn't clear it because it was the last lap of the race. So
that's almost certainly going to put Purnell to the back of the Pro-Am field behind Tom Bryce then.
Yeah, it's because for sure it's 40-second penalty. So yeah, with the final results here, which are up now, let's go get those. I think we're going to see a change in the results there because of that.
There we go then. So a dramatic end at the Hungaroring. It was definitely a bit of a slow burn of a couple of outstanding moments along the way. Brian Faluna wins in the number 3 Porsche, 6.8 seconds ahead of Hayden Young. Really flawless performances from our top 2 today, but also David Van Roy had to make 2 moves. Well, one great move on Bradley Lovings, and then Ryan Merriam made a big mistake, which gave him that 3rd position in the Acura. With Merriam, I think he will rue a lost podium at the end of this one. Bradley Tidwell holds on from Pal Corrali to take a brilliant victory right when he needed it in his championship for the CQB squared Delta 6 team. There we go. And interesting name there.
3 times
rolls right off the tongue. I can see why Bradley Tidwell picked it.
It sounds like a droid in a Star Wars movie.
Exactly. Pal Corrali, though, he just misses out with Bradley Lovings, our reigning champion, making a mistake late on that cost him a chance in that fight for the podium. Overall, he finishes just behind them in 7th. Tim Probert, he had a bit of an up-and-down adventure his day today, didn't he, in the Send-It racing car. And his reward at the end of it is only P8, although it is still P6 overall in the Pro class. In 3rd in Pro-Ams is Dustin Doisvase, another driver that had to do an unconventional strategy from a difficult first lap to get back into 3rd in class. It took Adam Hansen late on for that podium place in the Pro-Ams with Will Bailey. He was a bit unlucky with the strategy, made a couple of mistakes here and there, and he ends up 5th in class. John Gardner, though, he, despite being jumped at the pit stop, got through due to a mistake from Jim Sawyer right at the end. And John Gardner, another driver that really got the most out of this race, with Pernell Hanelt getting that penalty late on, which is surely going to drop him behind Tom Bryce. Michael Vester second in class, and that could be crucial points in his quest for the AM Championship with Jim Sawyer. That spin at the end, he will be absolutely ruining that. Drops him even behind Jeremy Chaney as well, who did not have a brilliant day, but nonetheless gets it to the checkered flag a lap down. Behind them, Scott Carlson, another who just was able to serve the penalty before the end of the race, so he should hold on to that 18th place. We have a couple of other finishers as well. I think, did Nicholas Marshall get to the end? I believe he did in 19th place. Yes, he did. 2 laps down for Wolfpack Racing, but a finish nonetheless under the British driver's belt. But sadly, not getting to the end was Abbott and Hoskins.
It looks like Purnell took the penalty, but did not put him past Bryce because Bryce apparently was a lap down.
So unlucky for Tom Bryce, but fortunate for Purnell. Finally, something goes his way at the very end of the race, even if it is only the battle for the wooden spoon in the Pro-Am class. So, but nonetheless, a pretty interesting race. And at the end of that race, Jim, shall we get the thoughts of some of our drivers? And we have got Brian Faluna, Hayden Young, and Bradley Tidwell waiting to talk to us.
Shall
we go for the race?
Let's
go for the race winner first. Let's not keep him waiting, shall we? He did finish first. So let's hear what Brian has to say after a peerless performance. We're now joined by our race winner, Brian Faluna. Brian, congratulations. Pole position. Led every lap despite a pretty decent challenge from Hayden Young, who's only about 4 seconds behind for a large chunk of the race, 6 seconds behind at the flag. You really hadn't covered every step of the way, so that dinosaur Porsche really took a bite out of the competition today.
It was a bit surprising. Looking at what Ryan was doing on Garage 61, yesterday I think I was about a half second off of him, so I went way more aggressive on the setup today. It kind of gave me more of what I wanted, but it was a little bit more precarious on the throttle. But as long as I kept it under control, it was good. But yeah, still a good race. Yeah, Hayden kept me honest the entire way. I enjoyed that one. I just bought this track yesterday, so maybe I just need to keep doing that. I seem to be a little bit faster on average.
I like how you saying, I was half a second behind the other day and I just bought this track yesterday, sort of downplaying a little bit to make it seem very, very casual. But that was a really, really strong performance, and it's done you a load of good in the championship. You were, let's see, about, 12 points behind Ryan going in? And that's a significant amount gained because Ryan, of course, only 4th in the end.
Oh, he was only 4th?
Yeah, he made a mistake, which let David Van Roy onto the bottom step of the podium.
Oh.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
He spun on the last lap, or second to last lap. He looped it around,
It's one of about 8 things that happened in those final 2 laps.
Yeah, it was crazy. The last couple of laps were nuts.
Wow. Because I imagine from your point of view, very, very serene race by comparison to everybody else.
There was a pair that I caught the last 2 laps. I think it was Mike and Tim. I was trying to not interrupt their battle because he was only about 1.1 behind, and going through sector 2, I told him, I was I'd just try to pass him on the straight, but he was very nice and let me pass a little earlier. But I felt a little bad because those guys looked like they were battling for, I think it might have been 12th and 13th. But yeah. I'm glad it was pretty uneventful on the front, so I'll take that.
It's usually a little calmer up there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely a better race than last week at Bathurst.
Yeah, sure. It's Bathurst, man. That's a different animal entirely.
Indeed it is.
That is very true.
So, Brian, one more round to go, and that gap to the championship lead closed significantly. Don't know exactly what the maths is on that because I forget what the actual scoring system is and how many you've scored. Whether it's a perfect score of 62 today, or if it's if it's slightly less than that. Do you think you can still win it, or do you think Ryan has just got to finish, decently and he's got it in the bag?
I mean, anything is possible. Like I said last week, I'm glad to be here to have fun and enjoy the competition. If I win, I win. If I don't, but I'm still having a good time, I'll take that any day of the week. But we're going to put our best foot forward at Sebring next week, and we're going to see where things end up. But absolutely, either way, it definitely has been a good championship. Yeah, I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed it definitely.
Well, we've enjoyed watching you as well, Brian. So best of luck for Sebring in a week's time. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, as always, to my wife sitting behind me, over my shoulder watching me, for the last 15 minutes. Bradley, well, the Bradleys, Mike, you guys. I don't think JP is here today.
No,
you'd be hearing him if he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you too. Edward, I think this is the first time I've had a chance to talk to you. So, nice to talk to you. But, yeah. But I'm looking forward to a good rest of the day. Gonna watch the F1 race and hopefully it's good.
No spoilers. I won't spoil it for you.
Good. No spoilers.
I mean, I haven't seen it either, so yeah, I can't tell you anything. I can't even hint at anything that happens in the race because I've got no idea. But anyway, thanks for talking to us, Brian, and best of luck for what remains of this season.
All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later.
I'm sure we will. Not as good as you having won, but nonetheless, we will try our best. So, Brian Faluna can leave and celebrate a well-earned victory. But what of the man who finished behind him, 6.8 seconds down the road in second position? It was a strong performance nonetheless from Hayden Young. Let's hear his thoughts on today.
What's going?
Oh, sorry to drag you in mid-sentence, Hayden. But Hayden Young joins us now after finishing P2. Hayden, there's a comment in the YouTube chat from Lottie who says, "Go on, Hayden. Well done. So bloom proud." So
no, that's my partner.
All right, okay.
That's my partner.
Well, that's great to hear as well. But it was a strong drive. You qualified second on the grid. You're second for most of the race. I guess the big exciting moment for you to talk about was you trying to undercut Brian in the pit stop by going a bit earlier. You closed the gap to within about 2 or 3 seconds. It nearly got you ahead, but unfortunately Brian was just a little bit too strong today.
Yeah, he was fast. He's on a different level at the minute on that Porsche. I just can't seem to get the Porsche going as well as I used to. But I saw the traffic and I thought, I'll risk it, jump in, and hopefully it'll get me a little bit closer. And unfortunately, it was about the same. I think about 2.3, 2.4. But it was just one of them. He was just too quick.
Indeed, sometimes a hard-fought second where you push the leader as hard as you can. Sometimes that can feel more satisfying than a lucky win. As I'm seeing. I
push you off tracks as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking at the replay that's shown on stream at the moment, and I think that is Ryan Merriam spinning behind you not long after.
I did see something happen. I did see something happen, but I didn't. I saw he dropped a load of time. So did he spin? Did he, bless him?
He spun twice actually, because he also spun out of third position on near the end of the race, which let Ven Roy through. So yeah, not a amazing day for Ryan. I think it's fair to say, given what he's achieved in the past. But for you, an absolutely brilliant performance. And is that your best finish in OGRL Coffee Cup this season?
I think it is. Because I've been struggling. I've been really struggling with the Porsche. I don't know why. I usually don't. I'm usually quite quick with the Porsche, but for some reason, since the new tyre update, I just can't seem to grasp it. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. It's one of them. But I was happy with that. Not to say because I didn't even have that much practice. You see, I only had like 6 or 7 laps.
Seems to be a theme. Brian was also sort of trying to play down.
Does seem to be a theme.
Yeah, Jim, you got any questions for Hayden before?
No. Congratulations, good run.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I mean, you did. It was pretty eventful, which is saying a lot for around here because there was there was incident points and black flags, and so you just kept your nose clean. More. Oh, really?
I had one more incident point to go, so I was like towards the end. I was like, I'm settling for this. That's it. That's it. But yeah, it was quite tough on the incident points. It just the off tracks here are quite harsh.
Yeah, and this is one of the places notorious for its tight incident, limits, and that's part of racing here. It's the circuit's not as wide as some of the others, know.
Absolutely.
So congratulations, though. Good job.
Thank you, back guys.
And Hayden, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, shout out to Lottie, no doubt, and my parents. I think will be watching. I don't know if they've been in chat or whatnot, but and you guys, excellent job. I'll rewatch it later with a bit of tea and Yeah, have a great weekend.
Oh, cheers, Hayden. Anyway, lovely to meet you, because I don't think we've, much like Brian, I don't think we've had the pleasure, because this is the first race I've done in at least a year at OGRL.
Well done, mate. Well done. No worries.
Yeah, always a pleasure to fill in. And yeah, thanks for coming to talk to us, Hayden. And best of luck for the final race of the season next week.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. All right.
So then, that's our top 2 in the books. Shall we talk to the man who won the Pro-Am class and was 5th overall, Bradley Tidwell, because he certainly had an exciting run. So Bradley Tidwell joins us now. Bradley, congratulations on the Pro-Am victory. That was a very difficult race for you, because obviously you started behind Pal Corrali, and you were trailing him for a lot of the first stint, decided to jump, do the pit stop early and undercut him, and then you were defending for the entire final part of the race, and then all of a sudden Bradley Lovings pits and shows up right behind both of you. So not only have you got 1 car to hold off, but 2 as well. Luckily, from your point of view, you were able to put in a very, very strong defensive drive and hold on to that 5th position overall and take an important win in the Pro-Am Championship on a day where your main rival, Dustin Dos Vase, was down in 3rd and having to recover his way up the field. So certainly great day for you in terms of closing the lead in the championship and also sealing out the win in spectacular style. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. That was definitely a difficult race, and I've been having so much fun this season with these guys in Pro-Am. Really have brought the competition this season, and the racing's been so respectful, so good. They're giving it all their effort, so I'm having to give it my all as well. But yeah, in that first stint, I was just trailing him, trying to see if I could stay close and make him make the small mistakes to either allow me by or not. And I was able to get past him in that pit cycle, thankfully, because without that, I don't think I had the pace to keep up with him in those last 5 laps or so as the tires fell off.
Wow, well, he certainly drove a very, very wide Lamborghini against that BMW as well. So that's another dimension as well, because Pal Corrali in the BMW was very quick down the straights, isn't he?
Very quick, yeah. But I just had to flatten the car and spread it out wide. And thankfully, defense and qualifying are probably my 2 stronger points in racing. So I just tried to capitalize on those, and it just happened to work out today.
Obviously, it's still a little bit of a gap, I think, in the Pro-Am Championship. Dos Vase still has he's not 22 points ahead, but he is still at least 15 points ahead of you going into the final race of the season. So it's doable, but it's a big ask. Is that going to be the aim going in, or are you just going to do the best you can and see how the points shake out at the end?
Where did Dustin finish today?
3rd,
overall?
I think. He just got ahead of Adam Hansen at the very end of the race.
Yeah,
and
3rd,
where was that overall?
9th.
9th. Okay, yeah, so I got 5 more points. I was honestly so surprised not to see Dustin behind me after the first lap or 2 when I was able to finally check my mirror. But, he's a really good driver. He's usually very consistent. So, I'm happy with a P2. But as you can tell, I'm going to be giving it everything I can to get as many points as possible here.
Absolutely. What we saw on the replay was that Dos Vase got basically nudged out wide and spun at the first corner, so he was basically having to fight his way through after that. It was a pretty dramatic start then. But yeah, no such issues for you, and a brilliant class win, Bradley. Congratulations. Before we let you go, is anybody you want to shout out?
Oh, thank you. I'd like to shout out Will Bailey. He practiced with me these last few days, helped me learn the track, so paid off. And Bradley Lovings for the coffee cup. Thanks for showing up, guys. I'm happy to watch the broadcast a little later today. And then lastly, I'd like to shout out our sponsors. We got Arcadian Woodcraft, Blue Angel Kennels, and Ron Service. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely brilliant. So I think we'll leave you to celebrate a well-earned Pro-Am victory and a 5th place overall. So excellent performance, Bradley, and thank you very much for coming to talk to us.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
All right, so the interview waiting room has actually become very, very busy all of a sudden, Jim. So I wonder we might have to be quite selective about who we pick here. Bradley Lovings has been waiting quite a while, so shall we go from one Bradley
that's probably
to another?
Gonna wrap it up, I guess. From
unless we want John Gardner and have our AM winner in. Shall we?
Yeah, let's pull Gardner in real quick, and
Yeah,
then
let's hear Gardner's thoughts, and then close it out, I reckon. So we're now joined by John Gardner Senior, of course. Hello, John. What a fantastic race for you. Qualifying in pole in the AM class, if I'm not mistaken, and then in a great strategic fight against Jim Sawyer. Right at the end, Jim spins and makes a mistake, and you're able to close out the AM victory in 12th position overall in that Mercedes. So congratulations. It must have been quite tense when you saw Jim emerge from the pits right in front of you.
Yeah. I want to say thanks for the broadcast. You guys are great. But yeah, there was a lot of fun racing here. It's a new track for me, but yeah, if he didn't mess up there, it was so hard getting by him, but it was a fun race.
And it's an interesting picture in the championship, of course. You were a little bit further back from Vesta, Sawyer, and Ollinger. Ollinger, who we know can't do these last couple races, but he was even saying in chat he's on holiday at the real-life Hungaroring, watching DTM GT3s, touring cars, essentially. Obviously, it's going to be tricky in this final round for you to steal the win in the championship. Do you think you can still get into the top 3 and end the season on a high?
Chances of getting third are possible. As for the championship, it's not possible.
Not mathematically possible. Okay.
Yeah, no, Heath deserves it. He's fought great this season. He's a great racer, and I'm cheering for him.
Yeah, there's of course the drop grounds as well, which makes it a little trickier for the likes of Sawyer Investor to overcome him, doesn't it? But nonetheless, it's been a really, really great race. We love watching that AM fight and the way it kept shifting back and forth between you and Jim throughout that race. Before we let you go, John, is there anyone you want to shout out before the end of the broadcast?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to the Old Guy Racing League, everybody that runs this, Bradley and Mike and everybody. They do such a great job. I appreciate everything they do. And to my kids out there, they're probably watching. I race on Thursdays with them in the truck race. So it's just a lot of fun doing this with this, and especially you for broadcasting. You do a great job. Thank you for everything.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'm sure Jim appreciates that as well. But yeah, great to hear. There's a big family affair, the Gardner family. I'm sure there's going to be a big party after this one.
Yeah, my son's outside right now. I'm going to go give the good news to him.
Awesome. I'm sure he's going to be beaming from ear to ear. But anyway, thank you, talking to us, John, and enjoy another well-earned AM victory.
Awesome. Thank you again, guys. Bye.
Right, and with about 4 minutes to go until 4 p.m. UK time, I think, Jim, that's probably a good point to stop because we're going to be going, nearly 2 hours now. So,
right.
Yeah. So an interesting penultimate around the champ. I think really all 3 championships are sort of in a very, very interesting spot. Ollinger hoping he's done enough to hold on from Sawyer and Vesta, essentially, in the AMs. We got Dos Vase closed in a bit by Tidwell, who's still got a good chance of maybe stealing it away from him if there's more trouble at the first corner for Dustin at Sebring. And then we, of course, have got Faluna with that brilliant performance to close right in on Merriam going into Sebring. So it could go either way in all 3 classes.
Yeah, what else can you ask for as a league, to put on a championship and have everything still live and active right up to the last race of the season? That's exactly what you want.
Especially when you jump in with just 2 races to go in the commentary box.
Right.
That's just the case for me. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks everybody for watching then. This penultimate round, race 11 of 12 here of the Old Guy Racing League Coffee Cup at the Hungaroring. Sebring will be next week in a week's time, which is obviously, you knew that because I just said it. So there was no need to redundantly clarify it. But yeah, nonetheless, it's going to be a very, very fascinating finale to season 4 of the OGRL Coffee Cup. And we have to congratulate once more our 3 winners today. Brian Faluna, Bradley Tidwell, and John Gardner as well. All of them putting in spectacular performances. I've been Edward Hunter. He's been Jim Cunningham. Thank you again very much for watching. And you never know, we might be commentating on you in the future if you decide to get on track soon. So keep active, keep involved, and we'll hear from you again, hopefully, in a week's time for the finale. Bye for now.